Jackson.
Good evening. I'm Hallie Jackson, and we are coming on the air with a major development in the Nancy Guthrie case. NBC News is learning that a man has been detained by law enforcement for questioning in Nancy's disappearance. This is according to a person familiar with the matter. It comes just hours after the FBI released those images, that video of somebody in a mask, somebody who is armed at Nancy Guthrie's front door on the night of her disappearance. Here's what we don't know, whether the person detained is the person you are looking at here in that video. I want to bring in our national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent, Tom Winter. Tom, what do we know?
Hallie, it's the reporting of myself and my colleague Jonathan Deans, according to a person familiar with the matter, that this individual was taken into custody in the greater Tucson area and is being questioned by law enforcement at this time. The video that was released and that we just showed you there was released at approximately 12:50 Eastern time today. But obviously the FBI had the video prior to its public release. There's been an awful lot of investigation that has been done behind the scenes involving both traditional police work, going from location to location to find videos, as well as canvassing online and digitally to try to find the type of information that could eventually lead to somebody being taken into custody. What we are not reporting is that there is arrest. There is a difference in that. And so right now they would like to know more about this individual. They would like to try to talk to this individual, and they would try to execute any potential search warrants to gather the types of evidence that would determine whether or not, in fact, they have their person who's responsible for this crime. I know a lot of people are going to wonder about the current state and condition of Nancy Guthrie. We don't have any information on that at this hour. We are still trying to gather that, but obviously we wanted to bring this information to you as soon as possible. But again, a person is being questioned in the greater Tucson area by law enforcement to try to determine whether or not this is the individual that you're looking there on those surveillance camera images, whether or not this is the individual responsible for the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie in the overnight hours from Saturday into Sunday nearly 10 days ago. And that's the status of the investigation tonight. It is a significant development and underscores the rapid work of law enforcement in the last 6 hours here this evening as they carried out this effort to take this person into custody preliminarily, just to question Hallie.
Just about 8 hours since that video that you're looking at here, since those images were released by the FBI, by federal law enforcement working on this. So, Tom, I want to pull this apart, and I don't want to go over our skis on the reporting here. I want to be very clear, because you nailed that, I think, the most important question. Does this mean that investigators are any closer to finding Nancy Guthrie?
I think that's going to be all part of this investigation at this point. Going to want to try to determine where this individual has been, where they're at, where is their residence. It's our understanding potentially this person was in the process of being taken over in a traffic stop, but we're still waiting on confirmation on that. As you can imagine, Hallie, the amount of information that's flowing in tonight, what we're trying to confirm, what is real and what is not, is immense. But that is all part of the investigation of trying to determine where Nancy Guthrie may be, and all part of the search warrant efforts that would be occurring at this point. And of course, as you well know, the investigation doesn't stop. Even if they think that this is the person and comfortable enough to get an arrest warrant for them, they still need to determine more things. And obviously, we need to find out what is the status of Nancy Guthrie at this hour.
And do we know if a search warrant is being executed at this hour, Tom?
I think there's some key components of this investigation, Hallie, that for the sake of it, whether this would involve our colleague, my mother, somebody else's mother, that we would want to be cautious in reporting anything that could disrupt the investigation at this point. And I know you appreciate that.
Let's talk about the images that we're seeing here, Tom, because this was really the first break in the case that we have seen over the course of the agonizing last 10 days. For Savannah, our friend, our colleague, a member of our NBC News family here, and her family, the Guthrie family, and you see this individual wearing a mask with those gloves on, with that backpack, Tom. These clues that investigators have keyed in on and critically have gotten out to the public, because as Savannah herself has said, somebody must know something, essentially. And I'm paraphrasing a post that she put out. But if you see anything you recognize, including what appears to be that holster with a gun in the waistband, call the tip line, Tom. That is incredibly critical here.
It is incredibly critical, and any law enforcement person will tell you, if you still think you have information, don't stop calling, because they still need to figure out some more information about this person as they determine whether or not they're involved with this crime, whether or not it is the person that is seen in those videos, and whether or not they have more information or if there's any other people that they should be taking a look at. You're looking at the numbers there on screen, and so I have seen in a number of major cases in this country that we've all covered and all know off the top of our head heads that the information that law enforcement sometimes gets after they've taken somebody into questioning, after there's been an arrest, is almost just as important as the information before it, to make sure that they have the right person, and eventually, if this goes to trial, that they have the right information to present before a jury.
Tom, I'm going to ask you to stand by, and I want to bring in our colleague, our Chief Justice and National Affairs correspondent, Kelly O'Donnell, who is in Tucson for us tonight. And Kelly, we have seen, obviously, an active situation on the ground where you are. That was not altogether unexpected. The FBI had said they would have law enforcement officials and their personnel out going door to door, as this is a case that has gotten attention at the highest levels of the federal government, including from President Trump himself.
Very much so. The president has made public his interest in seeing a resolution in this case. The FBI director has been in Arizona, unrelated business, but then made it his business to be a part of the Tucson Command Center. It is a 24/7 operation. In speaking with different sources, they are saying that this matter that Tom has been talking about, this detaining of a person for questioning, is the Pima County Sheriff's Department and not something that is directly led by the FBI. That is from multiple sources at the federal level, that this is Pima County Sheriff. Remember that Pima County is the lead agency supported by the FBI, because as of this point, what is known about these events and any criminal activity related to them is that it has happened within the borders of Pima County until there is information to suggest something else. At the same time, it is on its face obvious that this has been of national interest. The billboards with information about Nancy Guthrie spread across the Southwest region. As you have been so careful about this, what is important to know is the range of options of what this could be. It could be the person that's in the video, as you've discussed. It could also be someone who has other information that might be useful to investigators at this time. It could be someone that is brought into questioning based on someone's tip. There's a large range here. And part of what we don't yet know is if this person will be taken into charges. There's no indication of that yet. There is often questioning of people of interest that don't result in being a subject or target of the probe. So many questions. Without question, this is an important development. This is a sign of how law enforcement is engaged and active. But just to level set for our audience, as you've been doing in the conversation so far, we have many questions about what this means. It's clearly important. It's a critical step. And we have to just do more work and wait to see what law enforcement can tell us about how significant this is in terms of that person being directly involved or having information that can lead to the return of Nancy Guthrie. Hallie?
Kelly O'Donnell, thank you. I want to quickly bring in our NBC News law enforcement analyst, Evie Pomporis. Bring us inside, Evie, what this questioning may look like now to this individual who's been detained, according to a person familiar.
Okay, with the minimal information we have, let's assume that they suspect this person has some type of direct involvement or knows something. The first thing I want to know is, where were you at the time of this incident, right? Alibi, that kind of thing, your location. I want to check all that out. That's the one thing I'm going to want to know, like, how involved are you or are you not? Do you have an alibi? Secondly, going back to what Tom was saying before, and again, we don't know. However, I would highly suspect law enforcement, they're going to be looking at going through devices and going through the home of that individual if they're able to and have the appropriate warrants.
A critical moment, Evie, in this case for Nancy Guthrie, for the Guthrie family, and we have more reporting to do, our teams across every angle of it. That concludes this NBC News special report. I'm Hallie Jackson. Thanks for watching. We return you now to our Olympic coverage.